Now, if you're looking for the dawn of the super SUV, you've missed it. It's been, it's gone, they are amongst us, they are everywhere. But despite their abundance, I'm still often asked, Tyler, why do people want great big luxury cars that are as fast as a supercar? My reply, you've answered your own question. It's the vehicle that does everything, and this is the latest of the breed, the new Jaguar F-Pace SVR. If you're going to build a super SUV, the Jaguar F-Pace is actually a pretty good starting point, as not only is it quite sprightly, but it's pretty handsome for an SUV too. Our test car here, finished in distinctive ultra blue, gets the full SVR treatment. An injection of testosterone into the bodywork gives you sharper creases and more muscular features. More ducts for cooling, bigger grills to allow the engine to breathe a bit better, and a set of quad exhaust pipes out the back certainly shows that this SUV means business. It still retains the really taut, fluid lines of the F-Pace though. I quite like that because it makes it a car that's more sculptural than angular. Its Pirelli wrapped contrasting alloy wheels hide a set of beefier red caliper brakes, and it just sets the sporting tone of the whole vehicle. I think they're a real standout part of the design. As a result, the car's whole stance is just very purposeful. The interior also receives a host of changes, including a series of more textured materials dotted around the cabin, some sporty stitching, but most notably these bucket seats. Now the bolsters really grip you around the ribs, perhaps hinting that there's more to this F-Pace than meets the eye. Now in the back you'll still find plenty of space for three. There's actually a good amount of space in comparison to all of its competitors, in particular the Stelvio Quadrifoglio, with good head and leg room, although there is a bit of a protrusion of the transmission tunnel in the middle. Its vast 650 litre boot means there's plenty of space for the dog or other miscellaneous items, making it a perfectly acceptable family car. However, those three letters tattooed to its backside means that this is no ordinary family car. No, because beneath those bonnet vents is a 5 litre supercharged V8 engine. And it goes something like this. Whilst that V8 thunders and the supercharger whines, you'll be getting from 0 to 62 miles per hour in just 4.3 seconds. And that comes thanks to 542 brake horsepower and 680 Newton meters of torque. It's a big vehicle, but it's got some big power. All 5 occupants and the dog are sucked backwards as it makes the most of its traction via all-wheel drive, though rear bias to help aid agility. Now the 8-speed automatic transmission is perfectly fine to be left to its own devices. It's really smooth, very responsive to your inputs at the throttle, and seems to know what you're doing most of the time. However, click things over into sport and take manual control and you'll find it to be extremely responsive on the paddles, making it a surprisingly enjoyable thing to jump into the saddle yourself. Now when it comes to driving this car with a bit of verve, I'm not going to fall into the old cliches of saying, oh, it's light on its toes or it shrinks around you, because it doesn't. You're still very aware that you're driving an SUV, but what I will say is that its agility is excellent. It's got a really positive front end thanks to that rear bias all-wheel drive that only really sends power to the front when it needs to, and some really responsive steering. I mean, like, the precision of the steering is sports car-esque, and that really sets you up nicely for a driving experience that is really involving for an SUV. Now there is some body roll through the corners, but that's not necessarily a bad thing because it aids you to understand how the weight shifts around the vehicle as you corner at speed. And overall it gives it a really nice fluidity actually through snaking bends. Now a big car with big power needs a big set of brakes to bring things back under control. And I have to say the set fitted to this F-Pace SVR do a great job. They're really easy to modulate, you can be very precise with your inputs, and again, just like the steering, it's quite sports car-esque. Setting the SVR into dynamic unlocks its ultimate potential because on twisting B roads like this one, the weightier steering just enables you to really place the car exactly where you want it on the apex. The increased throttle response, well, that's just a wonderful thing, blatting it out of a corner. What's really nice about this F-Pace is that you do get a sense of what the chassis is doing beneath you. You pitch it in really hard for a corner, you can feel the weight transfer and also how it pitches round on itself thanks to that E differential. But sadly, all of this excitement and performance does come at the cost of fuel economy, with Jaguar stating that this car will do around 22 mpg. But then I suppose it does have north of 500 horsepower. What else were you expecting? Now, thanks to some parts supply issues, the Jaguar F-Pace SVR actually came to market a little later than anticipated. So I guess the real question is, was it worth the wait? And you know, for that motor that dominates the whole experience and the chassis that complements it perfectly, I think it was. If you fancy one of these SVRs on your driveway, it'll cost you around £75,000.
Thanks very much for watching, and let us know what you think in the comments below. Please subscribe for all of the latest and greatest cars to hit the road. For breaking news and written reviews, visit www.insidelane.co.uk.